Kia ora no tātou. It's my second video to cover the assessment for now marketing and assessment 2, the written assessment, which is worth 65% of your final grade. So most groups or people have done their group presentations of 35%, and now the last part of marketing in terms of assessment is with 65% the written assessment. So again on Moodle, if you have a look, you'll see it look like this. I'm going to open up assessment 2, and here where we submit our assessments to be marked, here is the actual assessment itself. Just like sports administration, I've put there a link for you to look at how you might be able to do a report if you've not done them before or inexperienced in doing reports. This particular one is also a report, a short report. We'll go through that in a second. And here we are with the assessment. So cover pages as per normal, bit of marketing research, 65%, and 50% is the minimum pass grade as per normal. Okay. You can have a look through this, guys. Again, there's nothing really too new in that first part. Choose a sport, fitness, recreation organisation and conduct marketing research. As per the instructions for this assessment, it is the organisation that you presented on. So for instance, a group presentation between the three of you, and say for instance you did Nike, then use the same organisation. So you have got a lot of information already about these organisations and not having to go into it completely new. So some special notes with this particular one: you're going to need to conduct both primary and secondary research. Okay, and it says their marketing audit. It is a marketing assessment or a short report. Okay, guys. This particular short report, guys, is due November the 30th, a Friday at 5 p.m, which is 2 weeks after your sports administration due date as well. Okay, so shifting down here to task 1, I'll read this out. This assessment continues your research into the sports company that you presented in assessment 1. As I just said, if you presented on Nike, then you continue with Nike for this assessment individually. You must use the same sports from a marketing perspective. So when we presented, guys, in sports administration, we were talking about the organisation and how it worked and all those types of things. Now we're looking at it solely from a marketing perspective. Okay, and you are to research and analyse the company and the environment or the industry or the landscape in which it works in or operates. As I said, this short report should not exceed 1,500 words in length. And then again, 10% either way. Okay, so 100. So the bare minimum I'm expecting is 1,350 words. The maximum I would be expecting 650 words. Again, I don't really stick, like if it's 1,349, I'm not going to go, oh, you needed one extra word, or 1,651. But just bear in mind that 1,500 words is what's expected. Okay. The first task, or the first part of task 1, is the situational analysis. Okay. Again, the first part, an analysis of the size of the market your company is involved in. Okay, so in this particular part, we need to look at what is the size of the market. How many customers does the market actually have in it? How many people are they looking to target? Or how many people are in their market? Or how many customers buy their product? Is it an international market? A local market? Or somewhat of a regional market? So these are some of the things that you might want to think about and research around what the size of the market that your company is involved in. The second part of that, an analysis of the market share that your company has or is involved in. If you remember our lecture in the church, we talked about 100 hamburgers, and out of those 100 hamburgers, say 30 of them were sold by McDonald's, 20 of them were sold by Burger King, 10 were sold by Burger Fuel, Carl's Jr., and so on and so on. So if we look at 100 burgers and 30 of them being sold by McDonald's, in terms of their market share, would be 30%. Okay, so 30% would be their market share of the fast food or the hamburger market, if you like. So analyse that particular market share. There'll be lots of information out there online about how you might analyse or give an analysis of the market share that your company is involved in. If I give you another example, say for instance the sportswear or footwear market, who's the main player or who's the main 5 players in that particular market? Who holds, most of the market share? Okay, I don't want to give those answers away because I know that those people who presented on those companies will share their findings within their short report. Okay, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find out what the market share that your company is involved in is. The third part there, a description and analysis of the target market of your company, which should include the geographical market they are in, be it local, national, or international. So if you remember to one of our last tutorials that we did, and I gave out a scenario around 5 different events or organisations. One of them was the new Metro Sports Facility, another one was the NRL Grand Final, and so on and so on. And that helped us identify who was it that organisation were targeting. How old were their customers? Were they male? Were they female? Or were they both? What was the income? What was their income? What type of salary range, perhaps, did our target market have? How much disposable income might they have? What were their tastes? Their likes, their dislikes, values, morals, beliefs and behaviours all make up a description or analysis of a target market. So don't just think, I just need to provide something around the age and the gender and where they live. There's lots and lots of other tools or findings that you might be able to find out that can help support why it is that is your target market. Again, when we did target marketing in our tutorials, we spoke about the target market of McDonald's. And interestingly enough, McDonald's had a target market of ages 45 and below. Okay, you'd think McDonald's was available for everybody, but their target market was for low to middle income earners, not high income earners. And if you think about it, say for instance, if you came from an affluent part of Christchurch and you wanted to take a friend out for dinner or for lunch or something of the likes, are we looking at McDonald's as being our first port of call? Perhaps not. We may look at something a little bit more exclusive or a new restaurant that may have come out or anything like that. But for low and middle income earners, that might be a viable option. Hey, that's an affordable meal for myself, my wife, my children. They can have a play in the playground, or they could enjoy the use of a plastic toy or book or something like that that they might get in a Happy Meal. Okay, so if you think of it, look at really trying to identify and describe that target market well. Okay, because that's the key for an organisation to ensure that their marketing efforts are really targeting the people they want to sell their products to, or the people who are buying their products. Okay, now the last part of this particular assessment goes over the 4 and 7 Ps that we've been covering in class and will continue to cover in class. So, for instance, up until the end of term 4, and now, term 3, and now coming into term 4, guys, we've already looked at products and we've already looked at services. So we might already be able to look at what's the strategy this organisation uses around its products. What we'll be looking at in term 4 will be the strategies around price and some of the different pricing strategies that an organisation might use. For instance, they might use a strategy around penetration pricing, price skimming, or product line pricing. Now, if those things are foreign to you, again, we can come along to our lectures, to our tutorials, as well as in your Spiral Bound Marketing book on pages 41 onwards, around some of those different strategies around pricing. We can also look at place and what an organisation does around a place. Now, people think, oh, you're talking about your place or my place or what have you. A place in the marketing sense also makes reference to a channel or a distribution method that an organisation might use. Okay? Basically, how do they get that product or service to the buyer once they've made the decision to buy? Okay, and we'll talk more about that. Okay, there's a number of basic channel decisions that they use, and in terms of a strategy, you might want to answer those questions. Why did they choose to use this particular channel? Or why did they use multiple channels or different ways of getting their product out to people? All of those things. What's an intermediary? You know, what's the organisation who might pick up our product before it goes to the next part of the channel, then through to the consumer? What's an intermediary and what part do they play as well? And that concerns itself more so with wholesalers, retails, online shopping, the internet. Those are different channels that are used by organisations to get their products to their buyers or their consumers. And that's what we're talking about when we talk about place. Also, if we relate to that to a service, for instance, some of the organisations that you will be covering in your assessment relate more to a service than a product, you might be thinking about, how do I get tickets or concert tickets to a particular place? Okay, or how does it get to the consumer or to the buyers? If I've got a business or I've got, say, a gym, where do I want to be in the city so I can capture my market? Do I want to be close to an industrial part of town where a lot of the gym goers finish work and then want to go to the gym before they go home, or vice versa, before work in the morning? Just even things like opening times are important as well. How do I get my service out to people? Am I open when they are able to receive my service? And how much people might pay? So again, when you're talking about place, there's a little bit to it. We move further down and we talk about promotion. This has a number of different elements to it as well. Okay, promotion, we can be talking about personal selling. Who personally sells? Hey, I think a gym instructor or a personal trainer is also a personal seller. Okay, trade fairs, exhibitions. How do I get my organisation or my product out there so people know who I am and what it is I offer? Okay, that's all about promotion as well as advertising. Advertising comes to be a big part of promotion when we talk about marketing. So we look at price, we look at product, we look at place and promotion. Remember, we are talking about the 4 P's of marketing when it comes to products. If you see there on your screen, people, physical evidence and processes relate more so to services. Okay, so if you're providing a service, these are the things you also need to create to concern yourself with when developing what your marketing mix might be or what it might consist of. If I think about physical evidence, process and people, and if I try and do all those 3 things together, the physical evidence, when you buy a pair of shoes, do they literally just give you the shoes off the shelf? Sometimes they might if they're discounted, if they're a floor model or what have you. But normally they package it in some way. The infamous shoebox. Okay? So packaging is part of that physical evidence too. If you go to one of those specialty shops like the Nike shop in Westfield Riccarton, they're going to put your purchase into a Nike bag. Okay? That's all part of that physical evidence stuff. Okay, that when people walk from the shop and are walking back to their car or continuing to walk around, or perhaps sit down and have a meal at the food court, they're really saying to people, hey, look at this person. They've made a purchase from the Nike shop. Look at the bag. Look how flash and how, all those expensive it might look, and all those sort of behavioral things. A person who buys from Nike is certainly a person like this. Again, your target market, some of the demographics and those types of things. So when we talk about physical evidence, that's what we're talking about. Again, be covered more so in class. Okay? When we talk about process and when we're talking about a service, guys, this can talk about an element of service that the customer experiences the organization's offering. So the process might be, even when you buy tickets to a concert or to a sporting event, how easy is that done? What do I need to do? What site do I need to go to? And if I go to that site, how easy is it to navigate around? Is the information clear? Can I find what I need in quick time? Okay, that's part of the process that you're expecting your customer to follow every time they want to purchase your product. And the important thing around the process is what value are we giving our customers when they go through that process. Imagine if that process is really hard or cumbersome and it's difficult to be able to make the purchase you want. Is that a really good incentive or an attraction for a person to come back and purchase again? Okay, so when we talk about process, it may well just be how I actually engage with that service. Think of a haircut. How long do I have to wait? What is the waiting area like? Are the chairs comfortable? Are the magazines there? All those types of things are really, really important because that's what your customer is engaging in every time, that process before they can consume that service that you're offering. We'll talk about things like the value chain, which is an important marketing term as well. But what I finish with is around people. When you experience a service, and especially so in the sport recreation industry, when we experience a service, we are looking at it from the point of view that the people are the ones giving us that service, especially those people who are wanting to be personal trainers. Okay? Are those people competent? Are they up to it? Do they know their stuff? Okay? Can they sell? Okay? They're selling time. They're selling their dedication, their commitment. That's what they're wanting from the consumer. So can they sell that? Okay? What is their customer service skill like? Are they polite? Are they dressed appropriately? All those types of things fall under the category of people. So again, if you are providing or talking about, and a number of you talked about gyms, here's a great way to highlight the people in which work in those gyms and how they are part of an organization's marketing strategy. Really important you come along to tutorials and to lessons to get more information about that, okay, as well as your own research. And if you look down here, make sure your primary and secondary research is referenced, APA style, as it has been all year. Last thing I want to talk about, guys, is the marking. We'll go again to the marking rubrics, and as before, I'm only going to concern myself with quadrant 4, okay? This is how we get the best possible marks. So, first, the target marking has a weighting of 20% of your overall mark. If I read through this, the student provides an excellent and thorough description and analysis of the company's target market, which should include its geographical market, the local, national, or international market. Who is your target market? Where are they? What do they do? How much money do they make? What do they believe in? So on and so on. 20% of your mark. The size of the market and the market share is only worth 10%. Okay? Provide an excellent and thorough analysis of the size of the company's market and their market share. Okay? Overall, what type of money is being generated from the footwear industry internationally? And if I'm doing Reebok, how much of that share of that is Reebok's? Good chunk of marks here, guys, for market segmentation. Okay, the student provide 25% of that mark, of your overall mark. So we're looking at the student providing an excellent and thorough analysis of market segmentation using geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioristic factors. Okay, we've covered that already in marketing. Go back into your spiral bound books, go back onto Moodle to have a look at a description of those things. I'm really, really wanting people to be able to really identify their market well. And in terms of 30% of the mark is where we cover those 7 Ps. 4 if we're talking only about a product, but 7 if we're talking about a service as well. So a student provides an excellent and thorough analysis of the marketing mix, strategies around price, product, place, promotion, strategies, as well as, if I'm delivering a service, people, physical evidence, and process. Don't ignore, don't overlook when, even if it's a product that the organisation sells, guys, that sometimes there is people, physical evidence, and a process involved in doing so as well. So if it's just a footwear company that you're doing, remember what are the extra services that are provided by the shop that is selling that particular product. It might be gait analysis. It might be someone who's, trained to actually fit shoes, whereas in other organisations or other retailers, sometimes, the staff there has very limited knowledge. A specialist shop can give much more in-depth, comprehensive knowledge about what shoes you should buy, the best fitting, all those types of things. Okay. Now this stuff again in the marketing mix, 30% of the mark, and presented and analysing the relationship and achievement of marketing objectives. Okay. If you were to use the Boston Matrix and pricing strategy matrix that is in your book there, I think page 40 or 41, man, that's some good marks to sit with that. Okay. So that's 30% of that overall mark too. 15% of this assignment, guys, is around its presentation, the terminology you use, and its referencing. 15%. 15% is a gimme. Okay? So all tasks completed and presented in a clear, logical task order with headings, subheadings, and clear paragraphs using the appropriate professional marketing terminology. Okay? So a lot of that terminology is already in your Spiral Bound book and on Moodle. Okay? If you don't understand any of that terminology, ask one of your classmates. Come and ask me. Okay? But use it. Use APA referencing. Show the evidence that you've done primary and secondary research. And that 15%, is easily achieved. So there you have it in a nutshell. That's assessment 2 for marketing, 65%. I'll remind you again, it's an individual one. You use the presentation, you use the organisation you use for your presentation, okay, individually. But again, work with one another, okay, in terms of answering. You're all doing the same assignment, guys. It's due November 30th, which is a Friday, at 5 p.m. via Moodle. So upload it via Moodle. And again, those problems, people who have problems like that, please do so in the appropriate way. So you can either share it with me if it's a Google Doc, send it to me as an attachment, make it a PDF so you know that it'll come out on my end, and also as well it can't be changed if it is a PDF. Okay, so good luck. My door is always open in the office. Come and see me during the breaks, during class, before and after class. Facebook Messenger, but please don't message me after 9 o'clock at night. In respect to any questions, queries that you have around this assignment, and good luck.